Hey, what's happening, guys? We're back in the lab at M2C Racing. We're here with another episode of How Did They Do That? This is kind of a continuation of the How Did They Do That we've been on, but y'all have been seeing me put this 5690 on the sledge, right? So, but what I'm thinking is that we need a rear support. Even though it's laying on the chassis, what about a roof landing? So we need a rear support. And let's go over here. The rear support we used on the Mega Creighton works so good that I think I'm going to incorporate it into this design. Bam! How you guys like that? Let's grab it and roll it. I don't know what's going on with my mouse. It doesn't want to roll apart around anymore. Check that out. This is actually going to be a little more solid because it's got a little bit more material, kind of like where it's catching at. So, my thinking is we're going to go ahead and make this in a smaller size, but I want to adapt it so that we can make a template and put it on any car. I guess I should be out here. Sorry about that. I guess I want to make a template so we can take it and put it on any car using the M2C motor mount. So that's my plan, and I'm going to bring you guys along with me while I do it. And like I said, I already drew it. I mean, if you want to watch SolidWorks drawing, there's plenty of videos out there, and I'm not slick enough to teach you on it, so we're not going to try that. But anyway, I'm going to print this out right now. We're going to test fit it in a little while. So stay tuned. All right, it's done printing. Let's check it out. Ooh, that's looking nice. Yeah. Let me get it out and we'll put it on the car. All right, I put you guys on the stand. So we're gonna drill these holes out a little bit. Because these holes never come out quite right off the 3D printer, like it when you're drawing the part. If you got a hole, you know, let's say that's an 1/8 hole for 3mm screw, you have to, I need to grab the thing. You print it to a certain size, you always end up having to make the hole oversized. So I'm going to try this on the current blocks that I have, because that'll make my life a lot easier as far as keeping it in stock. So, let me show you guys. Bam. Pretty nice. And I'll zoom in over here so y'all can see better. And I'll probably fast forward through some of this blah, blah, blah. I gotta want to shut up. When I shut up when I'm doing stuff like this. I gotta fast forward through moments like that. Just gotta get right there. Okay. And for those of you guys who haven't seen the way we did the Mega Creighton, all right, that's what we did. See, this is going to be too long. I'm going to have to redesign this, or I'm going to have to move it out. But I mean, it still looks nice. But we got to have this clearance for the sideboard. But let's just see what happened. Let's see how good of a guesser I am. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that's gonna be super nice. Let me show you guys what's going on. That's the back of it. That's the front. That's super nice. So you'll be able to, let's turn this over. Now remember, guys, this chassis is bent backwards. That's why I'm using it as a sample. But you see, I'm gonna make a template so that we're going to align to a couple of chassis holes or something, so that we have a 3D printed template, and I'll give you guys a special drill, and we'll drill from the bottom so that we can have 2 screws to come up from the bottom and clamp our clamping block. All right. So it looks like we can get out. We got to get out a little bit because we need to be able to. We're going to have to modify this side cover right here. We're going to have to modify that side cover. I think we're just going to have to just remove that whole part right there to be able to get out to the big gears, which would be the second slot. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let's see, we got 2 screw holes up here, and we got to be able to clear it out to there. I don't think anybody will ever use a 30 gear, but hey, you never know, because this is I think a 52 or a 54. Anyway, I'm going to work on the next step is what I'm going to do. and we're going to have something pretty cool here soon. All right, fellas, we're back in the shop. We got the pieces screwed together. Now this is the piece off the Mega Crate, and so let's put it on there. Let's see what's going to happen. The plastics, of course, you know, nothing's ever quite the right size with the printer as far as, it is for most people, but not for a machinist. Okay, so something's going on. Maybe the plastic is bent. Maybe I'm out a little bit because it came out undersized like most diameters do, because I want it to fit real tight right here. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so here's where our side cover is going to be coming in, right? This is a full side cover. Like I was saying, we're probably going to have to trim this off, but you know what the guys like, what the guys really like doing with the XLs is they cut this part of the cover off anyway. That's why this one is cut like that. They cut this part of the cover off anyway because it lets the rocks and stuff just get out of the back. And it's actually a pretty reasonable idea because, anyway, they like it. You guys like it. But we're probably going to have to do some kind of modification to the side cover, of course, just to get this big old can in here. But I think I'm going to go ahead and make a new block, a new smaller block, and I may have to offset it some. But if you look, because if you look at how it's sitting, oh, I can bring you under here. So, because if you look at how it's sitting, you see this part is curved up. This part here is curved up to avoid the side cover. But it looks like I may have to, you see it's barely there. It's barely there. It looks like, I think it'll actually be okay. You might have to do some extra side cover trimming, but I think we can keep it all the way around the back for the guys who want it. But I am going to have to make a new block, so we're going to get on drawing that. And I think I'm going to change this chamfer right here to 220 to make it a little bit easier to machine, because you can see how we're going to have a little flat spot there. Anyway, we're on it. We're almost there. All right, fellas, so here's what I came up with. All right, I changed that hole pattern to 640 spacing right there. And then I'm going to make the rear slide. I measured the travel on the slide, and it's about 10 millimeters. So I made us 10 millimeter slots here. So I tightened up the hole pattern, made the new slots, and made a new clamp block. So we're going out. I just sent it to the printer. And it's doing its thing. You can see it right there. We got those printing out, and we'll have this part here pretty quick. Here we go. Ooh, that's looking pretty slick there. Let's get in here and get it put on the car. All right, back in the shop. All right, we're back in the lab anyway. We're gonna. Okay, this is a through hole. You always end up having to pull this plastic out. So. Alright, and then we're gonna need to thread through that. And you see, I shouldn't have drilled that plastic out. I actually drilled the wrong piece because I needed to thread into there. Now it's oversized. Super smart. Alright, but that's alright. We'll survive it somehow. Alright, so let's get here. Oh Lord. We're just putting nothing. Okay, so right. Okay, so we got that piece fitted up. Of course, this will be drilled and tapped on the real part. Not anymore. So let's see what our travel looks like, guys. I'm not going to drill holes in the chassis quite yet, but let's see how she looks. Okay, that's all the way out. Okay, I think we're ready to actually get some work done. Okay, so that's all the way out. And we're not going to be able to use that hole because I want to keep the slots are offset. I'll tell you what though. Take a look at that, guys. We are so close. So close. I think I'm going to move those slots out so that we can use that screw hole because it appears, that's not quite right. Boy, is it close. Yeah, we're gonna move these slots out because it is so close to that hole. I'm hoping you can see this. It is so close to that hole. I can't not use it. I mean, I gotta move it like 30 thou. That ain't gonna affect nothing. Because you see, we offset these slots so that they're as close to the plate as they can possibly get, so they're giving you the maximum support. So I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna have to make a new block and a new clamping block to utilize that hole, because we can get, I mean, you're not going to get any closer than that. I don't think you're going to get any closer than that anyway. I mean, that they don't make a gear to get you that close over here. You know, you're going to be out here in this range. Yeah. So from there, and then you got, and I made it so we had 10 millimeters of back and forth travel. That way, on this particular chassis, we can bolt down on these two holes and have the template drill the extra hole out here. All right, I got a plan. We're looking good. I guess we can get a little footage on how I'm going to figure this out. Kind of neat. I'm going to take feeler gauges. I'll just start with a 30. I think that's what it's going to be anyway. I'll just start with a 30 and see if that's the right spacing. 30. So it looks like it's actually going to be 1 millimeter. Oh, let's see. Oh, it's going to be about 1 millimeter. Yeah. It's just on there. A couple more thousandths. 10 more to it. More. I'm going to call that golden right there, fellas. That's what we're looking at. Quick and dirty, feeler gauges. Damn handy, get some. I was on the phone helping a customer, but I was able to move that hole over like we talked about, right? And get it mocked up, and it's gonna fit in that hole. How's that? This thing's gonna be so sweet. And I'm also gonna make a plate for $49.90. And I'm also gonna expand this out for the entire M2C 6S motor mount systems because it works so good. What do y'all think? That's slick right there. Hey, good morning, guys. So it's Monday morning. Actually, no, it's Monday afternoon. I just got done doing all the shop stuff and answering the emails and all that stuff that I got to do. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into SolidWorks. I already exported the models and fit them up on the truck, as you saw in the earlier video. I already exported the models, fit them up on the truck. Everything looks great. I went back and double checked and made sure my heights were the same rather, because your diameters always come out smaller when you do the 3D print. Now, yes, I can modify it in SolidWorks to make a bigger hole, but then then that's going to be double work because I got to go back
and undo it to make the blueprint. Or I gotta lie to it and type in all my dimensions, and you don't want to go through all that drama. I just drill the holes out. But when it went onto the back of the motor, it kind of expanded it and made me think that, oh, well, maybe something's wrong with the height or something of the center line of the rear support. But I went back, I checked it all, and everything is dead nuts on the same height. Because when you're going through an assembly in SolidWorks, when you're going through an assembly and you're building stuff off of other stuff that you built, any mistake you make gets translated all the way through until you find it. So I made sure there wasn't no mistakes. Now I'm going to go back and make blueprints for the guys. Not going to show you guys the blueprints because the least counterfeiters can do is buy my part to copy it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll get this thing out on the floor. We're going to do a lot more machining videos on this one, and they're going to program it out on the floor in Gibbs Cam. So stay tuned.